It is 1989 and I just got in from playing outside with my friends. I'm sweaty, I have a skinned knee, and what do I smell Mom making? She is making meatloaf, one of my favorite childhood dishes. So I thought, why not make some meatloaf? And not just make any meatloaf, make the best meatloaf I can ever possibly imagine. Such a good meatloaf that my mother would be very, very proud of me, which obviously she already is. So it's gonna be a bourbon glazed meatloaf. We're gonna do pork, lamb, and beef. You can do all beef, you can do all pork, you can do whatever you want, but I'm gonna do pork for the fat. You know, lamb is kind of, you know, it's kind of lean, but has good flavor, and beef's gonna get also fat with some beefy flavor, almost like a giant meatball. That's what a kind of like it is. It's, a meatloaf is like a giant meatball. We're gonna make our own bourbon glaze, and we gotta get this bad boy in the oven because the kids are coming home, the lights are going down. Let's get this meatloaf going. First thing we're gonna do is make our glaze. That's pretty hot. And you wanna use good bourbon. Okay, let's do some measurements. That's about 3.5 ounces bourbon. I'm winging all this, like I'm just cooking off the cuff. This is the fun part. This is the fun way to cook, is just kind of off the cuff. Let that cook out a little bit. I would say half a cup brown sugar. How cool would maple syrup be in here? Just a little maple syrup. Little maple syrup. Now it's not gonna be too sweet because I'm gonna add the ketchup. So the ketchup is gonna take a lot of these flavors you're thinking in your head down, so it's not gonna taste mapley, it's not gonna taste like too much bourbon. The ketchup's gonna kind of balance all this. Molasses. Now we're talking a little molasses. Teaspoon Worcester. Tiny bit of garlic. I would say teaspoon garlic. Teaspoon onion powder, teaspoon garlic powder. Now this is something that you're gonna be like, oh my God, did he really just put miso in his sauce? Yeah, I'm putting miso in the sauce, and here's why. It's because I love you so much. I love you like a mother loves you, that I want you to have the most delicious glaze you can ever have. It's not gonna taste like miso, but it's gonna add that umami rich flavor you want on your meatloaf. So, miso, and now we're gonna go half cup ketchup. Let's whisk this bad boy up. Black pepper would be real nice in here. That's 3 minutes later. We already have ourselves a glaze. So since it's off the cuff, I know how it's gonna taste in my head already, but let's taste it. That's really good. You know what it needs? It needs more Worcester. It needs a little acidity, a little apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is what we need. Apple cider vinegar, ooh, look at that mother in there. Beautiful apple cider vinegar. Once that comes to a boil, it's really gonna thicken, and we're gonna have our glaze for our meatloaf. So a little apple cider vinegar. It needs another I'd say another 2 tablespoons ketchup, because it's tasting like a barbecue sauce, and I kinda want it to taste like a mix between that flavoring you put on the meatloaf, that just ketchup, and a barbecue sauce. I want that mix, so add a little more ketchup. I mean, that's a pretty darn good barbecue sauce, so if you just want to make a quick barbecue sauce. Done. That is so good. Let's go with our meatloaf. We got 8 ounces of pork going in, 8 ounces of lamb, and we have 8 ounces of beef. Equal parts, so if you want to do a lot more, there's got a big family, you can do equal parts of each. We're gonna do some onion. We're gonna go minced onion. Try to get these as small as you possibly can. So we're gonna mince this onion up a little more. We're gonna add our garlic to it. So the garlic kind of melts in with the onion when it cooks. So this, you kind of want to mince it up. A lot of people do this on like a box grater. You can do that too, but the only reason I don't like to do it on a box grater and kind of mince up or kind of shred up my onion is because it gets too watery and it has like too much onion flavor. I want this onion to kind of bake up in there, and I kind of want those specks of onion in my meatloaf. Let's add that to our meatloaf. We're gonna do some celery. People like to put carrots in their meatloaf. Nothing wrong with carrots. I love carrots also, but I don't want carrots in this one. I kind of want to stick with some like kind of like base flavors. Now let's go small diced celery. So we're looking at about a 1/4 cup celery, 1/4 cup onion, and about a tablespoon of garlic went in there. So celery, going right in. A lot of people will put, dried herbs in there. You don't have to use fresh, but I do suggest if you're gonna put dried herbs in here, use thyme, parsley, and rosemary. But the rosemary, when you do like dried rosemary, it's always like super tough. So just chop it up. Chop up your dried rosemary. Rosemary, some thyme. That is gonna be 2 teaspoons, a tablespoon chopped rosemary, 2 teaspoons chopped thyme. And parsley is just awesome. It's underrated. And mixed in something like meatloaf. It's awesome. And once again, use dried herbs. If you don't want to do all this, just use dried herbs. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with dried herbs. But this is really going to kick it up to a level of meatloaf to where you're going to be extraordinarily proud of it. Herbs going right into our mix. We only have about, that's 1.5 pounds. We're going to kind of eyeball the panko. I eyeball everything anyways, but I want to make sure I don't make this too dense. I don't want to add too much panko. It's like kind of a fine line you got to walk. So we're going to make a panade, which is basically breadcrumbs and milk. Panko and milk. We're going to use panko today, but you can use any kind of breadcrumbs or dried bread. Mix it up, add it with milk, let the milk absorb into the breadcrumbs and make it nice and, not so crunchy, and it kind of just becomes cohesive. Let's go 1 cup of breadcrumbs. Kind of let that milk absorb all those breadcrumbs. And if you have to add a little more milk, add a little more milk. We're just eyeballing this. So far, I'm putting in about 1/2 cup. And all breadcrumbs are different. They'll absorb different. So just kind of eyeball it. You kind of just want to make it a little kind of pasty. You don't hear it crunching anymore. That's when it's basically ready. Our panade is made. That's a fancy word for breadcrumbs and milk. Once again, we're eyeballing this. Let's go in with 1 egg. I'm gonna do 1 yolk. I'm gonna do an egg and a yolk. I like doing that. It adds a little extra layer of depth and fat. So I kind of like doing a yolk and a whole egg. All right, another thing we're gonna add is, just gonna add a little tiny bit of mustard. Is it gonna taste like mustard? No. But mustard's just gonna add a little of that like vinegar flavor and a little of that, that mustard flavor that gives you kind of like, you can't really put your finger on what's in it. It's gonna be a little bit of mustard. A good amount of black pepper. That seems to be my theme. Now I'm not gonna add too much salt. I'm gonna add about 1.5 pinches. And the Worcester is gonna bring that salt in. Because Worcester is very salty. So, tablespoon of Worcester. All of our ingredients together. We're gonna kind of mix it. Just get it going before I even add my panade. Just kind of get it all incorporated, get those eggs mixed in. I'm gonna do half of this actually. Looks like it needs about half. I'm just starting out with half. It might need the other half. But right now it just needs half. Once you get it incorporated, you'll start to see the meatloaf will start kind of coming together. It won't be so tacky, but I don't want to over mix this because I don't want to have that super dense meatloaf. All right, you know what? I'm going to add the rest in. And I'm not trying to overwork this. I just want to get this all incorporated quickly so I don't have to overwork it. And it just all, you don't want to see clumps of your breadcrumbs and milk in there. That's the last thing you want to see. That is a good meatloaf mix. All right, let's get this on a pan. You don't need a meatloaf pan, but I ordered it online and the meatloaf pan came and it was literally like twisted in half. So I had to send it back, but then I'm like, well, I don't need anything fancy. I just wanted to see what a meatloaf pan looked like. It had a little tray that you could lift it out. I don't know, it was cool. So I just grabbed a bread baking pan and you can use this. So this is just as good. This is gonna work just as well. This is what I do my banana bread in. Are we gonna bake it in this pan? You absolutely can. You can bake it in this pan, but we're gonna flip it out and put it on here so we can get a lot of crispy crust on the outside. If you bake this in the pan, you can get that crispy crust on the top, but you're not gonna get it all the way around, and that's my favorite part. And this is gonna sound weird, but you kinda wanna like throw it like a baseball in here because you wanna get the air pockets out. So that's what you wanna do. Nice and tight, get all those air pockets out. I have a good base of what meatloaf is and the essence behind what meatloaf is, but I wanted to make it just a little extra special. This is not going too far for me. Usually I do something crazy and it'd be really delicious. Put some like fennel in here and make it a little whatever, but like meatloaf, I want to kind of still show you how to make it delicious, classic, but adding some real fresh chopped herbs makes it even better. Adding pork and lamb and beef, that's already making it a little different and it's gonna be just as good. We're gonna pop it onto our sprayed aluminum foil and you gotta kind of go fast. You wanna just pop it on. Ready? 1, 2. That is beautiful. We're gonna glaze our meatloaf. Glaze in our meatloaf with our delicious bourbon and like ketchup and miso and Worcester and molasses and black pepper. All that deliciousness basted all over here. Get that nice and coated. And we're gonna probably do this, I would say 3 more times while it's baking. So we're gonna bake this and just keep glazing it and create that crust. Let's get some more. Look at that, let's have a good time. Let's party a little bit. Look at that. I'm almost ready to watch some RoboCop, play Chutes and Ladders. Look at that, that's a meatloaf. Let's bake this in the oven. I'm gonna go 375. I know 350 is the way to go. I like 375 because I wanna get some char on the outside of there. And I'm gonna turn my convection on in my oven. Convection is gonna make the air go around. Basically, convection makes anything a little crispier. So I want this to be nice and crispy in the outside. So I'm gonna turn my convection on in the beginning, get it kind of crispy, and then I'll turn it off halfway through. That's really complex. You don't have to do any of that. You can just put it in your oven and bake it, and it'll be fine. I'm trying to be fancy. I'm doing all kinds of fancy little things. So do it your way, just bake it in the oven, it's fine. But I'm gonna turn the convection off halfway through. In the oven we go. So this rested for about 10 minutes. We're gonna like kind of pick this up like we're changing sheets in a hospital like that. Okay, get that. And then we're gonna kind of slide it off. And I pan sprayed the bottom of this, so it's sliding off beautifully. So this is still really nice and hot. We're gonna cut it open into slices. I kind of want to plate it like with shingled. It's kind of shingled out a little bit. It's so juicy. Look at that. That is beautifully, beautifully cooked. That is juicy and delicious. Look at that. That is nothing but pure flavor. So we're gonna do a little bit of parsley. It's easy, it's simple, it's old school. So I have celery leaves because we put celery in here. So I just saved the leaves. So there you have it, the perfect meatloaf. It looks like it's more barbecue sauce on the outside, but it actually does have that old school kind of ketchup flavor to it. So let's dig in. I already know this is gonna be phenomenal. Oh my gosh. It's almost like having that pork, lamb, and beef has just led this to have so much flavor. It's not just like that boring, super beefy meatloaf. This has like complexity of flavors. The onion, the celery, all those herbs, I mean, really bring it home. I'm not tasting any of the mustard, but I can tell that I added something like that to kind of bring out those flavors and make those flavors shine. And the salt content is perfect with that Worcester. It's bringing that umami bomb that we want out of a meatloaf. This is something that I want you to try because once you try this, you're not gonna go back to those other meatloaves. Enjoy this, because I am. Hey guys, Brad Miller here. Thanks so much for watching my recipe videos. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and it keeps me making these really fun videos for you guys, because that's honestly what I love to do. I love making really fun recipe videos for all you guys. So like, subscribe, and hey, comment below and let me know what you guys want to make, what you guys think. Just keep rocking and rolling with it.